Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I am super excited that you are all here today. Today we are working in a Traveler's Notebook album. It is an album that I'm actually creating to give as a gift to my parents. So this is documenting a trip that they took to Arizona last September, and they know that I am making this for them. It's not an agreement, but it's a gift that I can give them for major events, anniversaries, and birthdays that I know that they will love. So they send me their photos from their trips. I create an album and give them space to add journaling, and then they can add their journaling if they like or not if they don't. And they've got an album that documents their vacations and, these exciting moments in their life. So last week, we completed the title page and the first 3 spreads in this book. If you would like to see how those came together, I will link that process video up at the eye for you. Today, we are working on the next 3 spreads. For all of these videos, which will be released on Saturdays over the course of the next month, in these videos, I will be starting you guys on my computer within Photoshop Creative Cloud so I can show you how I altered some of the digital pieces to work in a traveler's notebook. And then we'll come back over here to the desk and get the pages assembled into the physical book. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go over to the computer now and get started on today's pages. Okay, friends, so before we get to assembling the next couple of spreads in this traveler's notebook, I wanted to bring you guys back over to Photoshop to show you how I created my own traveler's notebook pages, or how I altered some traveler's notebook pages to create these next few spreads. So let's jump right in. The first one that we're working on today is going to end up looking something like this. So I've got this check out this view, a moment of awe, and then a topographical looking patterned paper. Now both of these pattern papers or journaling cards are from the Futurecraft Traveler's Notebook pages that came out this month. They're called travel notes. So there are 2 packages. One is black and white, one is full color. I use both for my project, but these are both the colored ones. So let me just go ahead and pull those both up. So this green one, I'm literally just going to print it just like this. And then this one, really both of them, I'm just going to add them onto an 8.5 by 11 page, print them both out. But what I wanted to do with this one before I print it out is to figure out the dimensions for my photo that will go inside it. So all that I did was open it up, grab my marquee tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle on the inside so I can see the measurements down in the lower right-hand corner. So this says that it's 3.59 by 5.92. So what I'm going to do is make my photo probably 3.5 inches wide by maybe 5.8 inches tall, something in there. Now I've already done this, so let me just pull up the photo right here. So yes, that's what I did, 3.5 by 5.8. So then I can print this photo cropped perfectly so that when I trim it, I can just throw it right into this traveler's notebook. So if I select it all and copy it and then paste it into here, you can see that it's oriented pretty well in here with enough space around the outside so that it looks pretty even inside of that box. So that is the first one. Super easy. Literally, it's just cropping a photo and printing off the 2 papers that were already ready for me. I did go through some of my embellishments and figure out some of the embellishments I might want to use. I also have another pattern paper that I might choose to use instead of the topographical map, but for now I'm just going to print it and then we'll see from there. For the second spread we're working on today, we are going to end up with something that looks like this. So I took a photo and I cropped it to the Traveler's Notebook size, 4.25 by 8.25. Then I opened up this journaling card right here. This is from the tourist mode kit from Futurecraft, and I used this to create a journaling page for the Traveler's Notebook. So to do this, I opened up a 4¼ by 8¼ canvas with a white background. Then I came over to the journaling card, selected all of it, copied it, and pasted it directly onto this canvas. From here, I just enlarged it so it filled up the entire page. Let's put that back up at the top. And then I am going to grab so make sure that layer is still selected. I'm going to grab my marquee tool and I'm going to draw a line right above. Actually, you know what? I might get a little bit more space than that. So I'm just going to draw a box around the lines and this today's date portion, right click and layer via copy. Then I can grab that layer and pull it down until I get it to where I like it. I'm just trying to make sure that those lines seem pretty even. Then I can take layer 1 and layer 2, merge them together. So now this is one thing merged together. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So grab the marquee tool and I'm just going to pick some of these lines right here, select my area that I want to copy, and we're going to layer via copy and then move this one down again. So let's see here. Actually, I'm going to erase some stuff, so it's not a big deal. So if you want your lines to be even, you can just put these up somewhere in there, merge your layers, and then like let's say if we grabbed both of these, and then you can kind of center it in there and erase your crop lines, and then your lines would all be even. For me, I actually want to create a space at the bottom to put a picture. So what I did is, let me get rid of this. I took another picture and I cropped it to 3¼ by 2 inches. So it's 3¼ wide by 2 inches tall. Then I selected it all and copied it and put it right onto this page. It was just an extra picture that I wanted to include in this journaling page as well. So I'm going to get that positioned, and now I know that I can erase these lines all in here. So I'm going to hide my photo. Then I want to zoom in, and you know what? I also want to merge these layers right here. So I'm going to zoom in, grab my eraser, and then I can just erase the lines. Just get them all off of here at the bottom because I don't need them since that photo is going to go right where that is. Okay, so let's fit you back on the screen, put that photo back on there, and this is essentially going to be my my page for the spread, right? It's going to go right here. So to print this, I will print the photo on photo paper, and then I will take this background paper and print that out on plain white cardstock. So that is our second spread that we are doing today. Now the last one is another really easy one. So for this, I had this picture I was working with, and I really liked having this itinerary behind it where they could put like the day, the date, and the location that they were at. So that again was a card that was included in the tourist mode kit from Futurecraft. So what I did is I took this one's so easy. I took it, I opened up a 4¼ by an 8¼ canvas. Then I came back to the card, selected it all and copied it, pasted it over onto the page, and then I just enlarged it to fill up the whole space. Made sure that the itinerary part was at the top, and then I could use, let's keep that clicked on. I could use my eraser to erase this line and merge the visible layers, and that was done for the paper. Then I just needed to crop my photo to fit inside of it. So I did the same thing as before, grabbed my marquee tool so I could figure out roughly how big I want this photo to be. Looks like it is 4¼ by 5.62. Okay, so let's unselect that. Now, did I have this go all the way up? So I probably did about 5.5. So 4.25 by 5.5 is going to be my guess. Yep, that is what I did. So then I could select it all and copy it, paste it onto this page, and then we can put it in here, and there's like a little bit of white space all the way around it. Looks really nice. And then this is a card that I already have from the kit physically. I'm just going to add some text onto it and print the text onto the card itself. So now that I showed you all of this, I'm going to go ahead and get everything printed and meet you back at my desk to start putting this all together. All right, so here we are back at my craft desk, and once I get everything kind of cleared off a little bit more, I am going to open up the packet of pages that I'm working on today. When I'm working on my projects or on process videos or things like that, I always like to use my leftover envelopes from my kits to hold the materials that I want to use for those pages. So that's why you see when I start these videos, I have them all like packeted off. It makes life makes life way easier for me when I do it that way. So I pulled out this first spread. The left side page was super easy. It was just tape my photo down into that section on the journaling card or the traveler's notebook paper. Because we cropped that in Photoshop prior to printing, it made that part super easy. Then for the right side of this page, I knew I wanted to use a combination of these shipping tags to create like an embellishment page, and also to give like some tiny little areas to add journaling in if they choose to put journaling on in this book. If they don't, then the tags just look pretty cool. So I went through my embellishment pack and pulled out all of the tags I could find. Now, all of these embellishments are from the Tourist Mode kit by Feed Your Craft. When I decided to create this album, I wanted to limit myself as much as possible to the Tourist Mode kit and add-ons. So that's why most of the products you see me using come from that kit. Or from the Traveler's Notebook, which I believe those are called travel notes. They're the digital papers. So I am using that, and then I also have a stash of Traveler's Notebook sized papers, like a giant stash of them, that I will go through occasionally to fill in spaces where I want some extra paper or some extra pattern. So for this page, I debated between using the green topographical map paper or this other one that's kind of like a painterly page. This one right here, it's got like an area for journaling on it. I considered using that one just because the colors were kind of nice with the photo, but I just loved the way that the tag page looked, so that's what I went with. I just decided to go for the tags and put them on there. Once I had the ones figured out, once I had figured out which ones I wanted to use on this page, the next thing I did was to pull over my roll of twine because I wanted to add little twine pieces to each of those tags. Even though it will add a little bit of bulk to these pages, I still like the texture that it brings. At the beginning, I just left the strands pretty long until I got all of the tags adhered down. And then I will clip off a lot of it so that there's just a tiny little bit showing, and that way you can see the tags pretty clearly. So I love the texture that puts on there. And then that's pretty much going to be this page. So I will get the pages adhered into the Traveler's Notebook itself. Because I didn't want to risk cutting off any of those tag bits, I did trim just a little bit extra on the side where there was more room, because typically when I put these into the notebook, I do have to trim around the perimeter just a little bit. So I just didn't want to mess up the tags. So I just trimmed it off to begin with and figured if it was a little bit too narrow, then whatever, it was a little bit too narrow. So I use score tape to adhere the pages into the book itself. I find that the tape's really strong. I have a Scrapbook.com. It's a 1/4 inch. The type is what I prefer, I guess, for putting Traveler's Notebook pages into a Traveler's Notebook. But I also have a 1/8 inch width, which works just as well too. I like having both sizes because sometimes I want, narrow tape and sometimes I want it to be a little bit thicker. So there you can see that it is a little bit narrower than the page itself. But I'm fine with that because in the end I preserved all of those tags and I think it's fine. So there we go. There is our first page for today. Let's start on the second one. So the second one is also pretty easy, right? Honestly, all three of these are on the easier side for today. So this one, I have a picture of a tree. It's a super cool tree. The bark there looks like camouflage, and that's just the natural bark to that tree. Like there's nothing weird about it. It's not photoshopped. That's what it looks like. And then there's a smaller photo that has a bunch of cacti in it. Now, I have an older ephemera pack from Illustrated Faith, and in that pack were, I think, 3 or 4 different cactus plants. And we live in Michigan, so we don't really have cacti here in Michigan. So I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to use them all up. So throughout the course of this book, I do end up using all 3 of those die cuts. I don't know when I'm going to get the chance to use them again, so they all go in. And they're super cute. I really like the way that they look. For the tree itself, I chose the Wander title there. And then there are these geotag journaling spots. There are 3 of them, and they say 1, 2, and 3 on them. So this one is the first one. And again, I am going to keep those geotag labels to the side and make sure that I use them throughout the whole book because it would not make sense to have just a random one that's labeled number 3 in a later book. So I decided if I was going to use one, I'm going to find a way to use them all. So then I just added the little cactus plant down in the corner of the left side page. I also made sure to adhere the photo in there. And then I grabbed a little puffy asterisk from this add-on page. This was it's not really an add-on. It's just a set of puffy stickers, and they do have a travel theme, and they are made to coordinate with this kit. So I chose a couple of those, added those on, and called that spread done. So now I've got one more I want to do. This one I just have to adhere down the photo. Again, it was really helpful to have predetermined how to crop this picture prior to printing it. So all I had to do was trim it out and put it on. So that made that really easy. Then I have 2 Traveler's Notebook pattern papers. These are both from Freckled Fawn. I ended up going with this one right here, this chevron pattern, because I felt like the colors went really well, not only with the journaling card, but also with the picture next to it. I like the yellow and burnt orangey red tones. But I felt like my card was disappearing into the paper. So I pulled out some scraps that I had. I have these neutral, a neutral cardstock pack that I got from Michael's. And I liked that they had a couple that had the tones of the dirt from the mountains. So at first I had the more the brighter red color, but ultimately I went with this one that you see right here. It's more it's clay colored. And I thought that was perfect for this page. So that's what I'm going to go with. And then I'm just going to get it cut out off of this card. So cut off and adhere down onto the pattern paper. So I think it looks a lot better when it has that mat behind it. It definitely helps the card to pop out from the page, which is, really what I was going for here. So once I have that adhered down, I am going to put these pages side by side and go through my puffy stickers and embellishments and see if there's anything I want to add on here. I felt like it was a little bare and a little plain and could use something extra, but I had a hard time picking. I didn't know whether to go with black. I considered putting black on the left-hand side because the words on the card on the right-hand side are black. So I pulled off, there were these puffy stickers that said "Go See Do." I thought maybe those would be good, and then didn't really like it. Then there was an arrow that was black, so I put that on there and decided I also didn't really like that. I did love this half circle that says epic. The color of that half circle, like, perfectly matches the pattern paper, so that definitely was going on. And for me, it was important with my photo, that whatever I decided to try in quotation marks on my photo, I was willing to live with, because once you stick a sticker down on photo paper, there's not really, you don't really get it back up. I've seen people who can, but yeah, not me. I can't seem to get them back off of photo paper. So once it's on there, it is permanent. And then ultimately over here, I ended up adding this puffy sticker that says "so much fun." It's the same color tones as the one I put on the picture. And I did end up adding a black asterisk puffy sticker. So that is going to conclude the pages for today. So we'll slow down and close out. Okay, friends, that completes these spreads for today. So we've got 3 more in the book. I think they turned out really cool. I love how this little tag collage page turned out. I think that's really fun. And yeah, it looks really good. I'm excited. I'm excited to be, just about halfway done with this book already. I think I'm 2 pages shy of the middle. Yep. So in the next video, we will get past the halfway point, which is super cool. So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me put these pages together. Maybe it gave you some inspiration for some different layouts you can do in a traveler's notebook for yourself, whether that's for a vacation or, for any day sort of things. I will put links down in the description for any of the products or the links that I mentioned during this video. If you guys enjoyed this process, give this video a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I will be back next Saturday to work on the next 3 pages in this book. And in the meantime, I have a couple of other process videos and tutorials on the docs for you guys. So until next time, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.